The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you by the people right above our heads up there, the big logo on Wednesdays. I know Greenwood Chevrolet loves Wednesdays because they get the big logo right atop of the boxes. Always fun. Anthony Hartwig, your host. Scotty Mincher, as always, my sidecar on Wednesdays. Scotty, how we doing today?
I'm good, Anthony. You know, Wednesday's usually always good because I get to be a part of the best sports team out there. So
Well, what wouldn't you love about Wednesdays, right? Mike. What is it, Mike?
it's hump day.
One of the best commercials ever made, and I don't even remember what it was selling.
I don't know. I think it was it
The
the
Geico commercial?
insurance. Yeah, Geico. I
Um,
think it might have been that.
Go figure. Geico making the camel on hump day. Who knows? Scotty, we have some Class B to talk about. We're going to pop on the Class B website real quick. We are in the midst of the playoffs, and we have recaps to go over. We'll start with the older gentleman, the 18U. This is game one of the championship series between the 3B Barons and Athletics, who upset the Astro Falcons in the semifinals to get here. But the 3B Barons were on alert on game one. They win game one 10-0 over the Athletics. Score 4 runs in the first, set the tone early, but they keep tacking on 1 run in the second, 1 run in the third, 4 more runs in the fifth, and those 4 runs were enough to end it in run rule fashion, 10-0, your final score. 10 runs on 11 hits, 2 errors for the Barons, no runs, 5 hits, 4 errors for Athletics. Let's look at the Barons offense and what was working so well. Nick Thomas, he went 1 for 2 on the day with 2 RBI, a walk, and a run scored. Also 2 RBIs from another Nick Parado, who went 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored and a walk. Then you see towards the bottom there a 2 RBI day and a 2 hit day for Ryan. Now I'm going to try to Pikutatsky. 2 for 3 with 2 RBI. If I botched the name, I am so sorry. Aiden Decker, who has had a great Class B career over the seasons, he contributed as well, going 1 for 3 with 1 RBI. The big arm of the night for the Barons was Corbin Severick. He went 5 innings, gave up no runs, 5 hits, struck out 6, walked only 2. So a big statement, Scotty, in game one for the 3B Barons. I put up the question yesterday, who would have the advantage, the team that's bringing in momentum from winning game 3 or the team that had a day off waiting for game 3 to happen? And it seemed like the Barons with that day off were the ones that had a big advantage in this one.
Rested and it goes back to, I think, that old rest versus rust question, but in this case, the rest did wonders, rejuvenated the Barons.
Now, to be fair, we've seen that argument go both ways. We've seen Russ not play a factor and the team that's rolling in on momentum get a victory, and we've seen the team that gets a break get a victory. So I don't think this one night can solve that argument. And I don't think that argument will ever be solved because sports are fickle and there are way more other variables than whether or not you had a day off or not. But I think the 3B Barons did have an advantage, especially at this level of baseball where they have their arms, they get arms, they get their arms to have another day off. Athletics came in having to pitch for 3 games instead of 2. They had to use 2 pitchers just in this game too. Salema and Dom Zatello both got in the game. So you don't know how they're doing. I think it's just one of those things where in this level of baseball, the rest helps you a little bit, and it definitely gives you an advantage. Doesn't mean you're going to win. Doesn't mean you take a hold of that advantage. But the 3B Barons did, and they're the 1 seed after the regular season, and so far in the playoffs, they have proven it. They kind of rolled right over Creekside, and in game 1 here, they dominate the Athletics. But for Athletics fans out there, Scotty, they lost game 1 of the semifinals, and they bounced right back and won 2 in a row to take the semifinal series over the Falcons. So this team's never dead, and just because you win game 1 doesn't mean you can't come up and show up in game 2.
And I think baseball, more than any other sport, in my opinion anyway, it really doesn't matter. Even if you take a shellacking like Athletics did last night, it's you pretty much, it's pretty easy to wipe the slate clean, and you could see a lot of times the reverse happen, or a lot of times the next game that's played is a nail biter, and it's a great game right up until the final out. So I don't think Athletics will be. I don't think this is gonna hurt them too much, at least mentally. But
It does put them in behind the 8 ball now. Best 3 out of 5, remember, so the 3B Barons 2 wins away from being a team that comes in and wins the championship as their first year as a program in the league. That would be some kind of story for sure. We'll go to 16U where the championship series faced a game 4. Astro Falcons came in with a 2-1 lead, and they get the win 5-3 over the Avalanche. A really good baseball game, but the Astro Falcons secure the 16U Class B championship. I would pull up the stats, but for some reason on this particular game, the website comes to Sports Engine, and that doesn't take you straight to the box score. So we can't pull up all the stats for you right now, but we can do is take you into a recap on ysnlive.com and tell you the ones that we were reporting on. Will Petty had 3 hits on the day for the Astro Falcons, 1 RBI. Chase Gelpy came with 2 hits, 2 runs scored. And then the really big day was Jaden Royal on the mound for the Falcons. Pitched 2 1/3 innings of pretty much flawless relief baseball. Gave up just 1 hit, no runs, struck out 1 to secure the win. On the Avalanche's side, Mitchell Tree, went for 2 hits and an RBI. Dom Miller had a double and a run, and then Gabe Titus also had a double, an RBI, and a run. So they had a good day for Avalanche despite the loss. But with the win, the Astro Falcons, Scotty, they clinched the 16U. Yeah, the older boys couldn't quite pull it off, couldn't get there out of the semifinals, but 16U picked up the slack, put the Astro Falcons on the shoulders, and they got that program yet another Class B championship.
they said we'll take it from here.
We'll take it from here, Scotty. And that's what I like about this Astro Falcons organization. Like, even if one team, and I use down here with air quotes, I know you can't see it because we have the website full screen, But when you have one, in fact, we don't need this website anymore. I'm going to put it down. But you have one team that or age group that has a quote unquote down year in your organization. But when you're like Astro Falcons, it's like, okay, 18U, they got close, they got to the semifinals, couldn't quite get there. Our 16U team's pretty dang good. They can go and win a championship just fine. And then you still get an organizational trophy to put in the trophy case for the Astro Falcons organization, which I imagine is pretty full to the brim when you talk about all the tournaments that the Astro Falcons have won over the years.
Yeah, it's such what a history that they do have, winning history, and it's one of those things where because they have that experience, and you talked about how the 18U couldn't get it done, but the 16U did. They're just a really, really good on any level, just a sound baseball team. It's one of those things like they're not unbeatable, but they're really, really tough to beat. Like when you go in and play them, you have to be on top of your game.
I mean, yeah, you really do, and I would be shocked if there was a year in the last, let's say, 10 seasons that at least one age group did not win from the Astro Falcons a championship. Maybe there are years where not every age group wins. I know there have been years, and I think YSN covered a few of those years where Astro Falcons swept all three age divisions. But I doubt there's a year out there. Maybe there is. If there is, hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Where the Astro Falcons didn't win any of the age groups at all.
Yeah, and since the time I've been here, it's really hard to think. I think every year, they've been a part of winning in one way or the other.
Right.
So,
absolutely, they have. So, congratulations to the Astro Falcons. They win the 16U championship, and the 18U is still underway. You got You got game 2 coming up tonight, 7:00. Scene 1. Matt Marr. He's been the voice of Class B baseball. He'll be back out there. ysnlive.com/live. It's where you can find it. Game 2 of the series. Best 3 out of 5 in this one. Athletics and 3B Barons. This time, Athletics will be the home team in this game. So we'll see if that changes their favor at all tonight. They were trying to even up the series at a game apiece, and the Barons are trying to take a commanding 2-0 lead. Scotty, in a 3-game in a best 3 out of 5 series, this game tonight is the most important one because it's the difference between can you even up the series or are your backs being put against the wall. And if the 3B Barons win tonight, it's going to be real hard for the Athletics to win 3 games in a row to get the championship.
and
Not impossible, but hard.
Let's flip it though. If Athletics wins tonight, do you think pretty much all the pressure goes on 3B or because
No. See, if Athletics wins, in my opinion, if it's 1-1, then both teams just take a little bit of a breath and a reset because then all of a sudden it goes, all right, now this is the best 2 out of 3, and then that next game becomes really important because whoever takes that 2-1 lead is put in the driver's seat. But if Athletics wins tonight, it's almost like a reset button for both teams. So I don't think it necessarily puts a ton of pressure on the 3B Barons if they lose game 2, because then it's like, okay, best 2 out of 3 now, and we've already won a game, so it's not like they feel like they haven't won against this team before. But a lot of pressure tonight is going to be on the Athletics team. Now, if they handle that the right way, it could work out in their favor because this could be a game where because you almost have to win, you kind of take a little bit more risks, and risk can be a really good reward if it works out your way. So maybe get a little bit more aggressive because you know if you don't win this game, the chances of you winning a championship go way, 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 way down. So maybe the Athletics are going to be in a state where they take a little bit more chances, and that could work out in your favor. That's always rolling the dice, taking chances. It could backfire. It could really work out. So we'll see how the Athletics kind of attack this game plan wise, because it's not your prototypical game 7 where it's win or go home, but it is a game that you just can't absolutely can't afford to lose if you're Athletics, because then your back's against the wall and you got to win 3 games in a row against the team that won the regular season to win a championship, which is not ideal.
Yeah. So pretty much what you're saying is, at least for right now, the 3D Barons are they're in a good
They're in a good spot. They're in
position.
a good spot because now they won game 1. They don't have to feel too much pressure for game 2. You still want to go out there and win. I'm not trying to make it sound like they don't need to win this game. There's going to be urgency. But because you gave yourself that game 1 victory, you have a little bit of cushion there where even if you lose game 2 as on the Barons side, you're sitting there like, okay, it's a reset. Let's go out there and win 2 games and take a championship. But it's almost a win-win because if you lose, you have that mindset, and then if you win as the Barons, you're sitting there like driver's seat. Let's go. Let's finish this.
Yeah, for sure. And
The Athletics have to channel that. Back against the wall mentality. Even though tonight's not an elimination game, they have to pretend like it is.
yeah, and you talked about, I think it was last week on the show together, we talked about how the 3D Barons are new, but they're not like really new.
They're new to Class B, but they're not new to baseball and big time baseball. This is an organization that has been around for a while. They just came in and put a team in Class B, but they've been playing in big baseball situations. They've brought some kids over from that world. They've also taken some kids that played in Class B baseball last year for other teams. For what team is the one that's missing from 18U last year? This is gonna bug me because there's definitely the 3B Barons replaced somebody. Nightline Avalanche, Creekside, Athletics, Ballistic, Prospects, Edge. Was there or maybe they didn't. Maybe it's just I think the couple of years ago there were the Ross brothers. They've been out for a little bit though. I could be all these years meshed together, man.
Yeah,
I could be completely wrong. There could have just been a new team added that didn't replace anybody. But I know some of those names for sure. Back to my first line of thinking, some of those names that are on 3B Barons now were on different teams last year. So they've played in Class B before. And the players that they've brought from the 3B Barons side of things, they've played in plenty of big baseball games, big baseball tournaments, because 3B Barons is new to Class B, but not new as a baseball organization. So you're
just
not.
just out of curiosity, and from what you do know about the 3B Barons, is it kind of like what we talked about um, last week as far as the Astro Falcons, and we covered at the top of the show their 16U win. But is it kind of like with the 3D Barons, because they have that experience, they have talented players, maybe they pluck some players from other teams? Is it kind of like when you put on that uniform, there's like that certain winning culture or expectation?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's just one of those things where they're an organization just like anything else. Like we have a lot of travel softball organizations in the area that, um, when you're in it, you're usually. Oh, sorry, I forgot to unfull screen you. But there are plenty of travel softball organizations in the area that kind of build this loyalty because you start in 10U and you kind of, for the most part, a lot of players stay in that organization all the way up until 18U. You know, whether you're in Ohio Blast is a great example. They're a great organization that has a lot of teams, and these teams, for the most part, give or take a couple of players here and there, kind of stick together through the years. They build this kind of loyalty and tradition and kind of pride for their organization. And I think the 3B Barons are the same way, where because you've been playing for this entity for so long, you have this pride in being able to wear their jersey and to be able to represent what you believe their core values are, and to bring them into a brand new league and to be able to show everyone in Class B baseball, like, hey, this is what the 3B Barons are all about. I think that might be one of the rallying cries for that locker room this year, because it's like, hey, we're the new kids on the block, but it's also our chance to show what makes the 3B Barons organization special and what makes them, stand out. And they've definitely done that a lot this summer.
Yeah,
And I think we've seen them come across to play in the NABF World Series too. So they're not new to Bobstein Park either, and they're not new to being on YSN.
that is a lot of good stuff there. And also, I was kind of wondering, piggybacking off of that a little bit, Anthony, when it comes to like the Class B in the baseball, like, and both of us are big time sports fans, and we've kind of we talked about how it was different upbringings for us and how we got in the sports. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, like, if you're in this situation and it's do or die, and you gotta win a game, what is something like? Would you rather be would you rather be an elite pitcher and have an elite arsenal and know you could shut the opponent down on the mound, or do you want to be that bona fide slugger that could just mash?
Oh, I want a slug, man. I want a slug. Give me the big bat. Let me change the game with one swing. You know, there's the old that anyone with a bat is dangerous. I want to be that. I want to be. We like to get dangerous on Running Point.
Yeah, we
Come
do.
on, yeah. Give me the big bat. Give me the blunt instrument. Let me use it.
It's like I don't know if you ever watched Family Guy, Ant,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's a real old episode, and they're like at a baseball game, and Stewie's like, "Why doesn't that man take his club?" He's like, "I'd use it to strike people with it." You-
I just remember the episode where Peter's in the kitchen and he's sitting at the table. He's kind of like depressed for some reason. I forget what happens, but he's eating graham crackers. And Stewie walks in and goes, "Those are my graham crackers. I'm gonna find something to strike you with. Excuse me." And he walks away. And then he comes back with a bat and just boom right to the back of the head.
Yeah, that's what I think when
I use that line so much when like we're arguing in the house or whatever, or me and Tom, my brother, like are bantering. I'm just like, I'm gonna find something to strike you with. Excuse me.
Yeah, it just I don't know. That just
That's the
popped in my
best.
head. You said you would like to have the blunt on
Yeah,
object and slug
you
with.
know, the thing that would be considered a weapon. Give me that one. Um, Scotty, I did want. This is interesting because you just got me like think because I wanted to show the 3B Barons and kind of the scope of that organization real quick. I'm gonna put their website on the screen so we get a good glimpse of kind of the scope of this organization that is in the Class B baseball. I mean, they have their own beautiful website, by the way, but you can see like this is legit. They are a legit baseball organization. They offer drills and media up there. They have a merch store. You can go to their team roster over here. I think it just went to another team. No, is that on the screen, Scotty, or did it stay on the Barons website? It stayed on the Barons.
It stayed on the Barons.
It opened a new page. Let me get the roster one up now. All right.
You're right, though. That's a heck of a website.
So you can see all the players that play in class in 3B. I mean, their roster is they don't have them. They don't have the numbers like listed numerically, but yeah, they have a lot of different organizations and different players, and they do a lot of good things.
Yeah, just looking at some of those pictures and just on the website and kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? The way they play baseball, and it's so like it seems like it's so effortless. Some of the way they attack the base path and things like it's almost like, who was that guy with the old instructional baseball videos in the like the 90s and early 2000s?
Oh man, I remember that guy. He had that like it was almost a T with like the string attached that showed you if you were swinging right or not.
Yeah, his name was I think it was Tom something. Tom.
Now you got me. We have a computer. We're gonna Google it.
Yeah, Tom Amansky or something like that. I always, that actually really, believe it or not, those videos really got me into wanting to watch baseball and even play baseball, because I would watch those and be like, let's play in the backyard right now.
Those were like infomercials, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can Google this. Tom Amansky. You're right.
Yeah, okay. It was Amansky. Okay, yeah. I remember watching those videos. The back-to-back national championship teams.
He's a former major league scout. So he was a scout in the major leagues that also had a kind of instructional video kind of business. Interesting. We're learning a lot of new things on this episode, Scotty. We're diving into our resources.
Yeah, we are. It's people getting educated.
Educational television. No. Nightmares.
Nightmares.
Let's go back to cartoons, Scotty. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we will see what's on Scotty's mind, the most dangerous question in all of online sports streaming.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you always by our good friends. Top of the box right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you so you don't have to. Anthony Hartwig with you, Scotty Mincher to my side. And the Wednesdays are for fun, right? And the fun and sometimes dangerous. And the most dangerous question in all of sports streaming, Scotty, is what is on your mind today? What do you say, Scotty? What do you say? Give it to me.
I am feeling pretty dangerous today.
Give me the tagline. Give me the tagline.
Let's get dangerous.
Thank you. I was like, come on, do it. Let's get dangerous. All right, Scotty, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I saw your interview, the player profile with Abby Emsch, and I just wanted to know for you, Anthony, we may have touched on this a little bit before in the past. I wanted to know what's the one thing you don't even have to narrow it down to one thing. Maybe it's a couple things, but what are some of the things you get most excited about when you do interviews and player profiles? Is there specific things you kind of like are waiting for when you do the interviews, or do you go in not really knowing how it's going to go or what to expect? And then the second part of my question is what impressed you most about her specifically?
All right, so I'll answer your interview kind of broad question first. And when you ask if I know how the interview is going to go, you never do. Like you can have it completely scripted to a T, but there's another aspect there's another variable that you can never control, and that's how they answer the questions that you give them. So trust me, no matter how much you try to control it, you never really know how an interview is going to go. My strategy, my kind of way of doing it, I kind of have like a framework of things I want the interview to hit, things I want to know about the person I'm interviewing, but I don't make it so structured that I have to hit these questions. And if I don't hit these questions, then the interview is kind of a lot like I have a framework, not a script. And so when every now and then a player or someone I'm interviewing will ask, can I have the questions in advance? My answer is I can give you the topics that I want to hit, but I don't like pre-write the questions per se to say these are exactly the questions I'm going to ask and these are the answers I want you to give. I feel like when you do that, you are guiding the interview a little bit too much and you don't have that spontaneity and you don't really get the full story of what they're trying to say because you're so wrapped up in what you want the interview to say yourself as the interviewer. I think you should let the guest kind of guide where the interview goes, and then your job as the interviewer, in my opinion, is kind of be in the guardrails, I guess you could say. Like, you always want to keep it on the street, you always want to keep it on the path, but where the path twists and turns, I like leaving up to the guest because it's their story to tell, and they have to kind of guide where they want that story to go. So that's kind of my metaphor brain way of thinking about how I approach interviews. I know some people like to script it. Some people like to know exactly what they're going to ask and exactly what they want to get out of it. I'm more of I don't go into it blind. I'm not sitting here like, well, I hope this goes well. Boop. I don't do that, but I definitely don't also super micromanage the interview either. So kind of like have a framework. But when I'm talking about Abby Emch and the things that make me excited about her career and make me know that she's, once in a lifetime kind of special volleyball player, goes beyond what everyone talks about what she can do at the net, right? Because she's tall, she's strong, she has great swings, great arm speed, all that stuff that you need to be, going to pit volleyball, you have in front of the net with Abby M. But she's not a liability in the back and serving and the other things that you have to be able to do to succeed at the Division I ACC level. You do like Abby M does not have to do that in Crestview. Like they can put someone else back there in Crestview, and they'll probably have success because they don't have a lot of hitters that can that are across the net that can expose lesser just raw volleyball talent in the back row. So in the high school level, you can afford to not be super. But I'm telling you, like when she steps on pit, they're going to ask her, like, you got to play the back front. You got to play the back right. All these different spots on the floor. And if there's one thing, like, there should never be a rotation where she just cannot be on the floor. And I think that's what makes Abby really special. And really, I'm confident she can go to pit and have a impact because you can play everywhere on the floor. And that's something that Pitt will definitely ask of her. Like, we don't want to be having to take you off for 3 rotations and put you back in for 3 rotations and then take you back out for 3 rotations and put we want you to be able to be on the floor whenever we need you to be on the floor, no matter where you are on it. So I think that's one of the parts of Abby's game that gets a little bit overlooked in high school because high school level, you don't really need it per se. And it's not used to the best ability. But once you get into pit, like if you watch high level college volleyball, you'll realize, oh, you should probably know how to be back there in the back row and hold your own. And Abby M definitely does that. And then the other thing I love about always interviewing her, and we've interviewed her multiple times now, she is never satisfied with where she's at. A lot of people could have said, committed to pit, I've made it, I don't have to work anymore. I can sit back and relax for the rest of my high school career and then worry about it when I get to pit on how good I need to be. But that's just not how she's built. And that's what makes the difference between that kind of athlete and someone that doesn't really go to play in college. That idea of I'm never satisfied with where I'm at. I'm always going to set new goals. I'm always going to get better at something. I'm not going to relax just because I've achieved one major goal in my career, which is commit to a big Power 5 volleyball program, one of the best volleyball programs in the country. Cannot stress that enough. If you are not a volleyball fan or do not know the landscape of college volleyball, Pitt volleyball is one of the top 10 teams in the country. And you could say top 5. It's like if a football player signed on to go play for Ohio State or Alabama, like legitimately, like not like, oh, I'm going to go be a walk on. Like, no, they came, they recruited me, they called me, they gave me the opportunity to come play for them. If a football player did that for like Alabama, you know how excited we get? That's how excited we got to get for Abby M because she is going to one of the best volleyball programs in the whole country.
And it seems like from the way you put it that even in, it's nobody's, on top of their game every single time. You're
right.
Gonna have struggles. You're gonna have times where you just don't have it on a given night. But it seems like what sticks out to me and from what you said is just her versatility and
right.
the fact that she does seem to be kind of like a Swiss Army knife. So if she's struggling in one aspect, it doesn't necessarily take away from another aspect.
The only spot you're not going to put her on the floor is libero, right? I mean, like, let's just be honest. So when you think about what the things that she can do, it's remarkable. And I like that you brought up that you're not going to have your A game every day because in that aspect, volleyball is kind of similar to baseball and softball in the sense where even if you're a really elite hitter and you're hitting, you're not going to hit 100% for a game. Like, you're going to have some balls that go out. You're going to have some balls that get dug up that are just really good hits, but the defense is there for. So your hitting percentage on a really good day in the high school level, maybe a little bit elevated, but in college, like a good hitting percentage for a player is like in the 400s. And hitting percentage is kind of like baseball. If you took the hits that you have out of over at bats, but then you subtracted, like, I don't know, what would be an error in hitting outside of just being out? If you subtracted strikeouts from hits and then put it over your total at bats, that would kind of be like what your hitting percentage is in volleyball. For those of you people that don't know, hitting percentage is total swings, so total attacks every time you swing the ball over the net, minus, no, I'm sorry. That's what's on the bottom of the fraction. Reset. Bottom of the fraction is total number of attacks. How many times you swing over the net. The hitting percentage is calculated by saying your total kills, so the points you get off those swings, minus your errors over that total attack monitor. So you're taking all the success, but you're also subtracting the errors that you make, and that's how you get your hitting percentage. So a good hitting percentage in college, 400s, the mid 300s, and that's like, if you're hitting 400, you're probably going to be in the running for offensive player of the year in your conference. So it's tough. It's tough. You're gonna fail a lot more than you succeed in volleyball, just like in softball and baseball. The only difference is you get more than 4 swings. You get a lot more than 4 swings in volleyball. In baseball, softball, you might get 4 at bats a game, but you're going to get, 25, 30, 40 swings if you're an outside, especially in volleyball per game.
Yeah, so there's more chances for you to
redeem. I mean, you literally can redeem yourself the very next play. You don't have to wait for 9 other hitters to go and get up and get back to your swing. Like, you can imagine if you grounded out and then you were the next at bat. That's what it would be like for volleyball.
Yeah, that's and it's really interesting because I really do. I think, and I'm not just blowing smoke in. I think you've done, just an outstanding job for years with the interviews that you do, and it's one of those things like I want to be able to learn and know something like volleyball more. So when I talk about it, it's an educated discussion and I'm informed and it's not just, talking things like just on the fly and I'm really not sure, hesitant. So that's something too. Um, we've done baseball, we've done basketball, we've done softball together.
You get on a volleyball broadcast, Scotty.
That would be really cool.
Hit me up. I'll let you know my schedule. I kind of like basketball and really like every sport I do. I kind of float everywhere. I'm a little bit everywhere in volleyball. So let me know. We'll get you in.
I will. I'll do that.
Fair warning though, the first half of volleyball season, those gyms get really, really hot, especially if you're in the right gym. Like Crestview gets really like a hot box, especially the start of the season. Lakeview is very hot. Trying to think of some other ones that were like stood out, like, oh my gosh, it's so hot in here.
So don't come with like a big hoodie.
Yeah, don't be like, oh, it's like, even if it's like 60 degrees, like it takes a little bit of time for the building to cool down. So don't be like, I'm gonna pop in with a hoodie and cargo pants, because you'll be like, oh, you'll be dying. So
yeah,
Warm weather sport especially for the first half until fall starts to turn and it starts to get cold, which I don't like. I don't want to talk about.
Before we do move on, because I had another topic I wanted to get to, but you talked about how you hit something interesting in me when you said you're not necessarily about the structure in your interviews. You just, and do you kind of feel like over the years, most of the time, because it's not like you're coming in totally unprepped, like
Right.
you're still prepping. Do you think it adds to, like, I don't know, just being authentic? Because we've seen in the past, like, there's certain broadcasters where they're just so, like, there's just so much structure, and it kind of takes away from, being a human being, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
I
somebody,
I get where, like, especially when you're talking like the bigger levels and national TV, and they have producers that want these questions to be hit very specifically, and they have to think about what's entertaining television. They have to make sure whoever's they're interviewing, whether they're a journalist, they're interviewing, someone that's a celebrity, or they're a sports broadcaster interviewing an athlete. Like, there's a lot less freedom, I think, in what these interviewers are allowed to ask and how they want the interview to go. I know it seems like that, but I feel like if you're on, I can't confirm this because I don't work for ESPN. Shocker there. But I feel like when Scott Van Pelt goes to interview someone, he is probably told by like 3 different producers, this is what we want you to ask. Stay on this brand, stay on this lane, make sure the interview goes here. Like, he doesn't probably, don't know for sure. I could be completely wrong. I'm assuming he doesn't just sit in the chair and say, this is exactly how I want the interview to go, and just go ask the questions that he wants to ask. I would wager very heavily that there are producers in his ear saying, make sure to hit this, make sure to hit this, make sure to ask him about this. And then it's his job to kind of put his own flair on it and still make it sound personable and make it sound like he's the one asking the questions, which I give a ton of respect for. And I think if someone gave me a list of questions to ask and said, you have to stick to these, I don't know how good I would be at doing that, but also trying to feel authentic and natural. I don't know if I could do that, which is very, very, it's a skill. But for us at YSN, one of the things that I love about it is we just want to tell the stories. We don't have an agenda of where we want this interview to go. We don't have a bunch of producers that are saying, we need the athlete to say this, this, and this, or we need to know about this, this, and this. And we also, to an extent, we don't have a time limit of how long the interview has to be. Like, we like to keep the player profiles between like 10 to 15 minutes. But if they go to 17, like, we're not going to lose airtime of the next show in front of us or whatever it may be. So we have that little leeway where we can let the athlete talk about their story. We don't have to cut them off and just go, all right, next question. So I think YSN is the sweet spot for interviews, in my opinion. And that's one of my favorite parts of the job, is getting to tell the stories. I mean, I just did an interview this week, and I'm doing a segment the rest of the summer with softball players that have already kind of achieved their dreams of college softball. And they've gotten to where our softball players in high school want to go. So I have interviews with those kind of players, and it's just about telling their story. And that's what I love doing. I love giving people the platform to tell their story and share their journey with the world. And that's what my job is.
Yeah, and it's just like DJ has told the story about a bunch of times how I think it was WFMJ told him, like, you're not really a guy that we don't see you.
No, that wasn't FMJ. Don't get it twisted. That was other people.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I that was a slip. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And
We like FMJ. They're our partners.
Yeah, it was I know who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know. Everyone knows.
Yeah, we all know. But anyway, and I just think it's cool because we're all kind of we have different things we bring to the table at YSN, and we're just regular guys that want to give these young athletes the spotlight they deserve, and be able to kind of have a platform showcase themselves. But there's some guys like I don't know if you've ever listened to Bob Cost as much and or watch, but it's like he's one of those guys that he's so it just seems to me anyway, he's so by the book that it takes away from personality a little bit.
Yeah, but once again, it's a different game up there. Where when you're interviewing, he'll be doing a lot of the Olympic interviews. I feel like he's still on the Olympic team. He might not be, but when he would do Olympic interviews, you had maybe 10 minutes for those athletes, and once again, you have producers in your ears saying, "Make sure you hit this." It's a different world up there. I don't like to throw those people under the bus, but I do agree with Bob Costas. I think his interviews aren't exactly fun to listen to, and I think that's what makes people in my opinion, SVP really good at their job, because they have the same constraints that a Bob Costas does, but they're able to make the interview still sound authentic, which I think is a really, really good skill.
They're able to add that flair to it.
Right.
Which, again, thank you, Anthony, for answering. I was just intrigued because you've been at this a long time, and you always seem to put, a good amount of entertainment and personality. It's a good balance.
Good.
So
I'm glad someone thinks so.
The final question I have for you, Anthony, before we wrap up here, we got the Olympics, the Summer Olympics coming up in a couple of weeks, and I wanted to know for you now we're halfway through the year. I guess you could do up to this point in 2024 so far and beyond, but I'm not going to limit it to one sport. You pick from all the sports that you have. If you could build an Olympic dream team, can you give me a power 5 of athletes?
Does it have to be current ones, or can it be past athletes too?
I won't say it.
I got to be honest. I haven't kept up too much this year about who's going to be in the Olympic teams.
Okay, I'll give you more flexibility. I'll let you use past ones.
I've had the time, Scotty. I've been putting in the work this summer, man.
Yeah. I'll let you.
I'll tell you, number one, and I brought this athlete up a few weeks ago, and I know there's controversy on the last Olympics on what went down with this athlete, but Simone Biles, what she's been able to do in the sport of gymnastics, literally, I hope people understand, has never, ever, 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 ever been seen before. It wasn't too long ago. You go watch 2012 Olympics, or in London, or the 16 Olympics, and I think it was Rio. You talk about those gymnasts that were on that team, and it was their first year on the team, or maybe second Olympics. But if there was a second Olympics, they were a specialty. They'd come into, be the uneven bars athlete for the team competition, or compete in that specific apparatus's event. But never would you see 2-3 Olympics in a row for a female gymnast in the all-around tournament, not just in it, but then winning it consistently and continuing to be the best in the world at what they do. We've been told for years that the gymnastics body stops really being able to be at that level, at the Olympic elite level, like at the age of 18 or 19. Like the old adage was you're done. You can't compete at this level anymore when you get to your 20s. And she's 27 and she's still doing things that have never been done in gymnastics. You watch her floor routine, she's pulling off tumbles that just don't get done anywhere in the world other than what she's able to do. It's a feat of athleticism that is almost like if a football player did something that we've literally never ever seen before once. Like if a quarterback threw for 8,000 yards in a season or something. Like it's ridiculous what that athlete has done in her. And then one of the most physically demanding sports on your body that there is, in gymnastics. You practice, 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. And the things they can do and the things that they do to their body. I mean, you look at Simone Biles and you can tell the growth has been stunted for what she's done to her body. Like it's not exactly the most healthy thing in the world to be in elite gymnastics. That's why you see a lot of the Chinese team. They look so young, but that's because they've been putting their body through absolute hell for, 10 years because they get into it when they're a kid, 6 years old, and they just do nothing but gymnastics. And it's unreal that Simone Biles is 27 and still doing it at the level that she's doing it. It's ridiculous. I love gymnastics and I've never seen anything like it. I know the world hasn't either. When we go to some other ones, Michael Phelps, I'm a fanboy. Got to have him on my team. He brought swimming on the map and just once again did something that no one else had done before, winning all the medals that he was able to win. I'm a big fan of MJ, so Michael Jordan. I know I'm being real flexible, but the Dream Team back in the day.
I also meant
Usain Bolt and oh geez, I need a fifth. Softball's not in the Olympics this year, which is so sad. But give me Kat Osterman from the USA team that won for years and years and years and will win again in 2028 when it goes back into the Olympics. There you go. There's 5.
You gave me 5. I should have told you could have put some local athletes in too, but
local Olympians.
Yeah, like if you like the 92 Dream basketball, but a YSN version. Like if you could pick your own, like almost like a fantasy thing.
But do we have any YSN Olympians? I thought we were talking Olympics.
Yeah, but yeah, we are talking I just meant as far as like the basketball, I guess, stuff like that. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you there.
I am so lost now.
Yeah. No, that was good. You gave me a good 5. I just meant like if we connected it to a local level and we did something like basketball, which is in the Olympics, and if you could pick from the boys and girls, who would you pick? But
so you just want me to pick like the 5 best YSN basketball players and put them in the Olympics?
Yeah, I guess I
didn't pick up that part of the question. I thought you were just asking me like who would be your Olympic dream team right now for Olympic athletes.
Oh yeah, I did mean that, but I wanted to have the local time. I'm sorry, I should have made myself more clear.
Let's see.
I dropped the ball.
So, Boys basketball. I got to go with oh geez, I hate being on the spot. Panky from Ursuline, excellent Olympic athlete. Well, would be our YSN Olympic athlete. I'm gonna go. Give me Preston Kerr from East Liverpool. Give me Dom Cruz from Canfield because you need a shooter, and he's like dead accurate, spot up three. I've always loved, and I don't think basketball is his number one sport, but every time I broadcast to Sean Vaughn Jr. from Austintown Fitch, always blown away by his skills on the basketball court. So I'm going to get him, and then give me, I'll go South Range. I'll do it. Give me Landon Moore from South Range as a fifth. And then on the girls' side, going to go a little bit in the past with Jackie Grisdale because she was just an all-around athlete, had 20 varsity letters at Poland. So you got to have her on the Olympics. I'm going to go with Sophia Gregory, YSU. That's a big knock in the one. I'm going to go back in the playbook again, a little bit of past with Cindy Boker from Crestview, who went on to play at St. Bonaventure, and I actually got that team to a Sweet 16 one year. Give me Melinda Trimmer from West Branch, and give me I gotta go South Range now just to keep it a homer. So many good South Range players. Give me Izzy Lamparty from South Range. 5.
I like it.
I can pull it off, Scotty. You can't trick me.
I threw you for a loop for a second.
I adjust.
You adjusted like Ty there. I thought I had you, and then
nope. You don't have me at all, Scotty.
Well,
but what you do have is you pushed us right to the end of the show. So that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today. It was a great, fun episode. A lot of great conversations. It always is with Scotty. He does a great job. We thank him for his time. Scotty, we'll see you next week.
Yes.
1 to 2 on Wednesday. I will see everybody tomorrow from 1 to 2 on the next episode of Running Point, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet.